Two proposed resolutions moved by Mr. Paul TSE. First, proposed resolution under Article 75 of the Basic Law. And second, proposed resolution under the Legislative Council Power and Privileges Ordinance. Members have been informed that, as the two motions are directly related, they seek to enhance the operation of the Legislative Council. This Council will proceed to a joint debate on the two motions, then vote on them one by one. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. And I'll call upon Mr. Paul TSE to speak on the two motions and move the first motion. Mr. TSE. Thank you. President, in my capacity as the Chairman of the Committee on Rules of Procedure, I move my first resolution as printed on the agenda. It is an established practice that before the end of each term, members will draw on experience to review and enhance the operation of the Council. A series of reviews have been conducted. Based on the findings, all LegCo members have reached a consensus on enhancement proposals. This resolution aims to amend the Rules of Procedure, ROP for short, to take forward the four proposals to improve the operation of the LegCo and to introduce the code for members of the Legislative Council, the code for short. The first proposal is to improve the system of performance of duties by LegCo members. As an integral part of the governing team of the Hong Kong SAR, members are fully aware that they should hold themselves to higher standards in the performance of their duties on the principle that you can always do better. Members agree that there is a need to formulate a clear and comprehensive code to assist them in bolstering self-supervision and self-improvement in order to enhance the performance of their duties and enable the LegCo to better fulfill its constitutional functions. With reference to the arrangements of the performance of duties and the relevant codes of conduct for public officers, and on the basis of the existing ROP, the drafting of the code has been completed with its contents perused and supported by all members. The proposed code, which consolidates and refines the existing requirements comprehensively in a systematic manner, makes clear the requirements on members' conduct, ethics, and performance of duties, establishes a mechanism for imposing sanctions on members according to the gravity of the misconduct. It also enhances the mechanism for declaration of members' interests, etc. To tie in with the implementation of the code, the functions of the Committee on Members' Interests (CMI) will be expanded and rename it as the Legislative Council Supervisory Committee. My second resolution seeks to authorize any investigation subcommittee appointed by the Supervisory Committee to exercise the powers conferred on it as a standing committee by virtue of Section 9(1) of the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Ordinance Cap. 382 to investigate complaints referred to it by the Supervisory Committee. To effectively implement the package of proposals to improve the system of performance of duties by members, apart from amending the relevant provisions of the ROP, the administration has introduced a bill to amend Cap. 382 to the effect that the existing arrangement for depriving a member suspended from the service of the Council of remuneration and allowances during the period of suspension would apply to all members suspended under the ROP, including those suspended for breaching the code. The bill was passed early in this Council meeting. President, the second proposal is relating to the operation of committees. It seeks to allow non-panel members to join panel subcommittees and enhance the arrangements for duty visits of committees. The third proposal relates to streamlining the election procedures of members, the chairman and deputy of Public Accounts Committee, the Supervisory Committee, the Committee on Rules of Procedure, and the Committee on Access to the Legislature's documents and records to bring them in line with the procedures of other committees of the Council. The fourth proposal is based on the new arrangement of making available a verified copy of the ROP on the Hong Kong e-legislation. It is to make textual or technical amendments and improve the publication arrangement of the ROP. The above proposals were supported by the House Committee on the 4th of July. If the two resolutions are passed, the proposals, including the introduction of the code will commence on the day on which the 8th term of the office of LegCo begins. Thank you. I now propose the question to you that Mr. Tse's first motion be passed. Dr. Lo Wai Kwok.
Yeah. President, I support the resolutions moved by Mr. Paul TSE in the capacity of the chairman of the CROP. As a member of the CROP, together with my BPA members, we support the passage of the two resolutions. As discussed yesterday, we have given our support to the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill 2025 moved by the Chief Secretary to enhance the legal framework. Now, the first resolution involves amending the rules of procedure of the Legislative Council. It is set out in Schedule 1, and also the Code of Conduct for members in Schedule 2 is proposed to be passed. This includes improving the system of performance of duties, enhancing the operation of committees, improving the arrangements for election of chairman and deputy chairman, as well as other textual amendments. This will ensure that the operation of the LegCo can meet the high standards expected by society. It has been discussed in length already. President, this term of the Council has been elected under the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong. It is highly efficient and all members are pragmatic and diligent. We have deepened the positive interaction between the administration and the legislation. This is a critical juncture where we emerge from chaos to stability to prosperity. Society has higher standards and expectation of LegCo members. Formulating a set of comprehensive code for members is realistic. It is also a key measure to respond to society's aspiration. On the premises of the existing code, the new code has made reference to the Code of Conduct and also performance of duty mechanism for public offices. This sets out the ethics as well as duties of members, including LegCo members must attend meetings, participate in voting, reach out to the public, and submit regular reports. Also, there is a tiered sanction system to impose appropriate sanctions according to the gravity of behavior. The maximum and highest penalty can be suspension of remuneration and duty. Now, the code will ensure that the conduct of members are up to the standard of society and also in alignment with Constitution. It will consolidate our professional image. Now, according to the new arrangements, the Committee on Interest will be upgraded to the LegCo Supervisory Committee. Its functions will be expanded. Besides dealing with declaration of interest, it will also be responsible for regulating members' conduct. Members will be required to support the national security and Hong Kong's constitutional order in their words and deeds. This mechanism will prevent and rectify the misconduct of certain members. And from an overall perspective, it will uphold the LegCo's professional image. Now, in the past, there was pan-politicism in the council and chaos. The new code will prevent these situations from occurring again. Now, the subcommittees appointed by the Supervisory Committee will enjoy all the powers conferred to the committee under the LegCo Powers and Privileges Ordinance. The subcommittee can investigate complaints assigned by the committee to the subcommittee. Now, according to the saying that what is good can always be better, LegCo members will continue to review the code and enhance our operation. We support the enhancements of the code for members so as to enhance our deliberation standard and contribute greater to the prosperity of Hong Kong. I so submit the BPA supports the passage of two resolutions. Mr. Kwok Wai Keung. Thank you, President. I'm a member of the CROP. On behalf of the FTU, I speak in support of the resolutions moved by Mr. Paul TSE to enhance the operation of the LegCo. In the past, we have had a painful lesson. Now, because of the mutual destructive camps filibustering, the operation of LegCo has been undermined and it endangered national security and one country, two systems. Now, this is a new era of one country, two systems, with the full implementation of the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong. District Council, which is advisory in nature, also has their own performance management system. So it is all the more necessary for LegCo to improve its supervisory mechanism to rise up to the higher standards. Now, the main purpose of the resolution is to formulate a new code for members. This is the new rules for LegCo members to comply with. We have to uphold constitutional order, national security, and the executive-led system. Also, the code sets out the performance of duties requirements of members, including attending meetings, reaching out to the public, and also submitting an annual report to be uploaded onto the website for the public's inspection. The remuneration and reimbursement will be subject to annual audits, and the record will be stored in the library for public's inspection. Now, from members' ethics to the use of public, the operation of LegCo has been made more transparent. The FTU supports these changes. We believe that these requirements will remind members to continue to improve themselves to rise up to public's aspiration. Now, the functions of the LegCo's Committee on Members' Interests will be renamed, will be upgraded, and the name will be changed to the Supervisory Committee. Now, besides handling declaration of interest, the Supervisory Committee will also be responsible for monitoring members' performance and ethics. Now, according to the new Rule 85, there is a new tiered sanction system. From written warning, written admonishments, and reprimand to suspension of service. It also sets out that during the period where the member is suspended, the member is not entitled to any remuneration or allowance. The FTU thinks that this is deterrence enough. In the past, there has been controversy over the arrangements of suspension of service with no suspension of remuneration. And also, the subcommittee appointed by the Supervisory Committee can exercise the powers conferred upon the committee to investigate complaints. The resolution will ensure that the new code for members can be implemented with the relevant authority. Now, in the past, the mutually destructive camp has paralyzed the operation of the LegCo. The situation will never happen again. The new resolutions have set out clear guidelines and rules on the daily operation of LegCo and the conduct of members. It will ensure the solemnity of the solemnness of the council as well as the proper conduct of members. It has enhanced the operation of LegCo and ensured good governance in Hong Kong. The FTU fully supports the passage of the two resolutions. Thank you. Dr. Teck Chi Yun. President, LegCo members are the representatives of the people. We are subject to the public's inspection. All along, the public and media have been concerned about the performance of members. For members who are performing below the standard of the public, they will be reprimanded and criticized by the public, and they will lose the support of the public in the next election. Our performance is subject to the supervision of the public, and we need to be held accountable to the public. Many members would proactively submit a report to the public and meet the public in their ward offices and hold exchange sessions to gauge the public's views for self-improvement. The formulation of the code for members is an important step to strengthen public accountability of members, so I support the two resolutions moved by Mr. Paul TSE. The new code for members sets out the expected conducts and ethics of members, including integrity and transparency. For those who contravene the rule, they may face sanctions like written warning, admonishment, reprimand or suspension. Now, these will ensure that the members can meet the minimum requirements of the standard expected of them. This is how we can fulfill the aspiration of the public upon members. This will enhance the authority of LegCo. Now, some journalists ask me whether the new code and the new amendments will limit the room for LegCo members to criticize the government. President, the major duties of the LegCo member is to scrutinize bill-approved financial proposals and monitor the use of public money. Now, in terms of monitoring the government, this is an important part of the relationship between the executive branch and the legislative branch of the government. We have a constitutional role to monitor the governance of the government. This term of the government has been proactively implementing policies on land creation and housing supply. The direction is correct. As council members, we have to support the government in governance by rule of law. But there are a lot of blind spots that government officials may have. For example, there have been measures to cut welfare spending. That's why the LegCo members must represent the public to put forward constructive views and monitor the governance of the government. This is our responsibilities. Now, I believe that the code for member and the new rules of procedure will not and should not limit the duties of LegCo members to hold the government accountable and put forward suggestions. Now, under the new framework, the LegCo members will have more trust from the public and can better perform our roles. I support the resolution.
Mr. Chen Hanpan. President, I speak in support of the two resolutions proposed by the chairman of the Committee of the Rules of Procedure. The Legislative Council is the legislature of the Hong Kong SAR government. We act in accordance with the Basic Law to pass a appropriation bill, monitor the government. The Legislative Council plays our constitutional role of monitoring, and LegCo members as the monitoring parties, people have high expectations of us. Exactly for this reason, the LegCo members must uphold self-regulation and self-improvement. We should perform our duties responsibly. However, self-regulation and self-improvement are more than just slogans. The rules and systems of performance of duties must be transparent. The system on declaration of interest meetings should be made public. Well, we should allow the public to check all the papers and minutes of the meetings. We should allow channels for people to monitor the work and performance of the members. I believe that people have high expectation of Legislative Council members. After we have improved the electoral system, implemented the principle of patriots administrating Hong Kong, we should improve the system on performance of duties by members. I think that we should enhance the code of practice, the system of declaration of interest, and the suspension arrangement. If we can include all these into a code of practice, this will enhance the transparency of the LegCo operation. So DAB supports the enhancement of the system on performance of duties by members, and we support the details and the regulations set out in the code of practice for members. We believe that the code will help members better perform our duties and play our constitutional roles. This also serves as an objective and transparent rule for members to assess the performance of the members, to see if we actually contribute to the country, to Hong Kong, and to the people's interest. Under the resolution, We are not just amending the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Ordinance, but also the Code of Practice. It also enhanced how we can self-regulate, and the Committee on Members' Interest will be renamed as Legislative Council Supervisory Committee. Its functions will be expanded. If the committee receives complaints against members, it can appoint an investigation subcommittee to follow up on the complaints. And the investigation subcommittee can call witness and request for documents conferred under the LegCo Powers and Privileges Amendments Ordinance. If the complaint is substantiated, the members will be subject to different levels of penalty, from written warning to suspension of duties, as well as deprivation of remuneration and allowances. So we won't be seeing filibustering, and members who engage in such activities will no longer be able to enjoy their remuneration and allowance. I support the resolutions so that we can amend the Code of Practice for members so that we can further give full play to the role of the Legislative Council. Mr. Andrew Lam. Thank you. On behalf of the 15 members of the C15, I support the two resolutions proposed by Mr. Paul TSE. We have to continue to self-regulate and self-improve. This has all along been what the LegCo members been doing. At the end of the term of the LegCo, we always review our rules of procedure, and this term is no exception. I thank the efforts of the Legislative Council Secretariat for explaining to us the relevant amendments. This term of the Legislative Council is the first one upon improving the electoral system. Members act in the interest of the people and strive to enhance the transparency of the Legislative Council. On the system on performance of duties, we have looked into it by proposing to amend the Code of Practice and the Rules of Procedures. The new Rules of Procedures set very clearly the system for declaration of interest and set up a clear mechanism for the performance of duties. The Committee on Members' Interest will be replaced by Legislative Council Supervisory Committee to monitor the performance of the members. The mechanism on decision-making, investigation, and complaints are clearly set out. Penalties are also included in the new Rules of Procedure and Code. Through the existing rules of procedure, leveraging on the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Ordinance, we can penalize members who engage in grossly disorderly conduct. However, for other misconduct, we cannot penalize the relevant members based on the existing rules. Now we are amending Section 20A of the Power and Privileges Ordinance to enhance flexibility. This is how we can enhance regulation on the conduct of the members. By enhancing the system on performance of duties by members, we ask members to act in the interest of the country and Hong Kong. Hopefully, through the resolution and amendment, the next term of the Legislative Council will enhance their self-regulation, and in turn, the members of the public will be able to monitor the performance of the members better. President, I so submit. Thank you. Mr. Lai Tong-kwok. President, on behalf of the New People's Party, I speak in support of the two resolutions. After improving the electoral system, the Legislative Council is no longer disrupted by the opposition camp. As a result, people have higher expectations of the LegCo members. As this term of the LegCo is about to come to an end, in the spirit of self-regulation and self-improvement, we propose to enhance the operation of the Legislative Council by amending the rules of procedure and the code of practice for members. We propose to set out a new penalty mechanism. Although Article 79 of the Basic Law already sets out suspension of duties for members, if members do not engage in grossly disorderly conduct, there is no way for us to penalize other forms of misconduct engaged by the member. We now have the Committee on Members' Interest, but the functions is rather limited. The committee can only handle complaints in relation to declaration of interest. They have no power to handle other matters. Here we are amending the code and the rules of procedure. We're going to rename the Committee on Members' Interest to Legislative Council Supervisory Committee. Depending on the gravity of the misconduct, the chairman of the supervisory committee can lay down penalty from written warning, reprimand, admonish to suspension of duties. This allows us to cater to different situations and misconduct. I think that this is an improvement. Apart from penalty mechanism, there are a few new requirements set out in the rules of procedure. For example, each member will have to submit a work report. In the past, members published their work report at different times. Members of the public may not know if a member have made available their report, and it's difficult for them to assess the performance. We believe that under the new code, it will be easier for members of the public to assess the performance of members based on the number of questions they've put, the number of meetings they've attended, so on and so forth. This is how we can tell good stories of Hong Kong. Members are asked to, within 2 months after the end of each LegCo term, submit a work report and publish it on the LegCo website. This is how members of the public can scrutinize the performance of the LegCo members so that we can continue to make improvement. President, Legislative Council is an important part of the Hong Kong SAR. We should continue to strive for self-improvement, and this is how we can drive good governance. We hope that upon implementation of the 2 resolutions, LegCo members will strive for further improvement so that they will not let people down and work in the interest of Hong Kong and contribute to our country. Thank you.
Mr. Tony Tse. Thank you, President. I speak on behalf of the 18 members from G19. I speak in support of the 2 resolutions. The Basic Law sets out the relationship between the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. It also sets out their respective functions. We work together for the development of Hong Kong and that of our country. LegCo is the legislature. We have to move ahead with the times. We have to strive to modernize to ensure that our operation is efficient. We need to meet the expectations of the public. For quite some time, some members have forgotten their inherent duties for their own interest or for the interest of anti-China elements. They have been using loopholes, challenging the rules and procedures, making use of different means to disrupt the governance of the government, and they have also seriously harmed the interest of Hong Kong, of undermining Hong Kong's stability and prosperity. With the improvement of our electoral systems, we see that the chaos has been swept away. We now have adopted the executive-led approach with patriots administering Hong Kong. At the end of the last term of LegCo, members have endorsed a number of resolutions in relation to the rules of procedure. All these have improved the operation of the LegCo. They also prevent abuse. We have rectified the devious old ways. Members now work with pragmatism and efficiency. The LegCo has vetted a number of motions, funding approvals relating to the development of Hong Kong and the development of people's livelihood. We see that the expectation of the public of legislators is increasing. That's why we need to continuously improve the efficiency of LegCo to make sure that LegCo will govern well, serve the public well. We need to continuously improve the effectiveness of the performance of duty of members. The resolutions focus on two areas, one of which is the improvement of the systems of the performance of duties. There is also the introduction of the code for members. There are requirements of members that they need to uphold the executive-led approach and performance of our duties to govern Hong Kong. Members should vote and attend meetings, submit regular work reports, and abide by the requirements of codes, ethics, and performance of duty. There is also an establishment of sanctions. In relation to committees and duty visits, there are also requirements setting the minimum requirements. All these rules and principles are the basic requirements of members. If we are to win the support and trust of the public, members will have to self-improve and perform their duties better. We have to show the public that we are the result of improvement in governance. I support all these proposals. I urge members to do so. I urge members to continue to perform their duties dutifully to serve Hong Kong, develop Hong Kong, as well as serve our country. I speak in support of the resolutions. Mr. Tommy Cheung, the Liberal Party supports the two resolutions moved by the chairman of CROP. These are to improve the system on performance of duties by LegCo members. It also streamlines the election procedures of committees. There are also textual and technical amendments to the ROP. Article 75, the second paragraph of the Basic Law empowers the Council to set rules of procedures on its own. Before the end of each term, it is our established practice to conduct reviews for improvement. This is a well-established convention. I took part in this exercise. I'd like to talk about the proposals on the improvement of the systems of performance. In 2021, there was a legislative amendment to improve the electoral systems of Hong Kong. We are the first term after this change. We are part of the governing team of Hong Kong. We have to exercise a self-regulation. We have to strive for improvement in our performance of duty. Members all agree that in addition to the rules of procedure and the House rule, there is a need to establish a code to set out clear requirements of members' conduct and performance. The code covers the requirements of conduct, performance of duties, declaration of interest, investigation, as well as sanctions. A mechanism of sanctions is set out according to the gravity of the misconduct. There is also improvement of the declaration of interest. There is also a proposal to reform the Committee on Members' Interest to the LegCo Supervisory Committee. Its power is expanded to the effect that investigation committees appointed by the Supervisory Committee will enjoy the same powers conferred to the Supervisory Committee in order to handle complaints referred to it. It is right to enhance the monitoring of members' performance. This helps to meet public expectations. It also makes us accountable to the duties given to us by our country. I speak in support of the two resolutions. Does any other member wish to speak? If not, I ask Mr. Paul TSE to reply, then the debate will come to a close. Mr. TSE. President, I thank the 8 members who have spoken for themselves and their sectors. They spoke in support of the proposals to enhance the operation of the LegCo under the 2 resolutions to enable it to progress with time and further enhance its effectiveness and accountability. This term of the LegCo is the first term after the improvement in electoral system and implementation of patriots administering Hong Kong. The Council is once again rational and pragmatic. There is higher expectation from the public on the conduct and performance of legislators. We have made a series of proposals which marks the milestone of the continuous improvement of the Council after the improved electoral system. The Code sets out clearly the requirements of duties, conduct, and declaration of interest of members. In addition to assisting members to meet the requirements, fulfill their duties, it also enhances the transparency of the work of members, which facilitates monitoring by the public and in turn win their trust and support. I thank members for their support for the 2 resolutions so that the constitutional function and duty of the LegCo can be performed better, so we can do better and do more for Hong Kong. I'm honored to be involved in the introduction of the Code. I thank the work devoted by the Secretariat of the LegCo. I'm honored to bear witness to the efforts devoted by members in this term to further improve the system of performance of duty. I'd like to also thank members of the Committees of Procedures and all members for their support. We can work hand in hand to continuously improve the operation of the LegCo to meet the expectation of the public on us. I still have some time. I would like to reply to what members have said as well as my observations. We have done a lot of work. This term of LegCo is operating with higher efficiency. Some people may ask, why is there a need to make changes? Members have said that we want to do more. It is a remedial action. We want to always improve the operation of the Council. I would like to say that recently there is a former chief executive who is now a state leader that talked about a measure to enable mainlanders to purchase properties in Hong Kong. He talked about always doing more, serving better. We have set down some indicators. Say, for example, we have increased the number of funding applications by 50%. Our efficiency has also increased by 20%. Objectively, we are performing better. When it comes to the quality of our work, have we performed our duties to monitor the performance of the government and serve the public? We have made changes to our rules and the legislation so that we have an indicator to measure our work. I ask the public and the media to monitor the quality of our work. We all work together to serve Hong Kong. Of course, there are 2 sides to any reform. At the end of the last term, we have endorsed a number of requirements and standards. There is improvement in the operation of the Council, but there is still room for improvement. What about the next term? I hope that the next term will be better. There are also some inadequacies, say, for example, in relation to complaints, the chairperson of the supervisory committee, what if there is conflict of interest, how are they supposed to excuse themselves, and these are issues that we need to iron out. I hope that we will always do better. I so submit. We now first vote on the first motion of Mr. Tse. I put a question to you that Mr. Tse's first motion be passed. Mr. Martin Liu claims a division. The bell will be rung for 5 minutes.
開始表決。
Will members please proceed to vote?
請核對。
Please check your vote. If there are no queries, voting will stop and the result displayed. Members returned by the EC 39 for 39 present. From GC and FC 50 present, 49 present. The question is agreed by majority of 2 groups of members present. I declare the motion passed. Mr. Paul TSE, please move your second motion. Second resolution. President, I move my second resolution as printed on the agenda be passed. I propose the question to you that Mr. Chair's second resolution be passed. Mr. Martin Liu claims a division. The bell will ring for 5 minutes. Members, please proceed to vote.
請核對所
Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting stop. Result displayed. Members returned by EC 39 present, 39 for. From GC and FC 50 present, 49 for. The question is agreed by a majority of 2 groups of members present. I declare the motion passed.
Members' motion with no